Welcome to the show Feud, where we are feuding. Ernie and I are in a big feud.
A feud.
No, we're not really in a feud, but we're going to talk about feud.
Feud off at each other.
We were talking about feuds yesterday with Tyler Stone, and now we're going to talk about the TV show Feud. That Ernie,
which I have not watched.
James is watching it. I'm watching it every.
Well, what channel is it on?
Is it FX? I don't know. It's one of them.
It's hard for me to watch TV now because we got rid of cable at our house.
Well, but you watch it on Solo Movies. So it's free. It's on all the time.
Oh, okay.
So
I can just watch it on the computer machine.
Yeah, and you can binge watch. Now there's 5 episodes out. It comes as an episode every week, and it's the story of I'm sure all the viewers know, of Bette Davis and Joan Crawford. And
what's so good about it?
Well, because it's kind of like the behind the scenes feud that they had, building up to the filming of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and then they filmed the movie, and everybody thought it was going to be a flop, and it was actually not.
I mean, it's a good movie.
Yeah, it resurrected their careers, and now you see them kind of like very humble in the beginning of the filming, and now they've got their bitchiness back, and now they think they're somebody again, and so they're hard to deal with, and like the pettiness back and
Mama
forth.
got a bitch back.
Yeah, there's a funny running joke where Joan is working for Pepsi, so she's putting Pepsi machines all over the set, and Bette Davis the next day brings Coke machines and puts them right next to the Pepsi machines. It's very funny.
Did that really happen?
Yeah, it did really happen. And Susan Sarandon is Bette Davis. Well, you feel sorry for Betty. Listen to what Joe. This is really fabulous. Betty was nominated for the best actress in Baby Jane, and Joan wasn't, and they snubbed her. The Oscar snubbed her. So Joan went around calling everybody in town saying that she wanted to accept their awards in case they won. So it turned out that Betty didn't win, and Joan is like going up accepting everybody's awards and completely upstaging like the whole award ceremony. And you feel sorry for Betty because you see her like kind of like almost crying in the background. It's a really good show.
Is it a comedy?
No. I mean, it can't be, but it's not a comedy. It's not a comedy because it's real. So and I know I've read books about almost every one of those situations, and so I know that they really happened. But it's not done in comedy. No.
The thing about Whatever Happened to Baby Jane is that, I mean, when we watch it now, I mean, the whole thing is just a ridiculous, over-the-top,
and there's so
funny
many,
movie. So when it came out, did people actually take it seriously? Or?
Well, they did. No, they did. They took it as horror, and there are so many funny lines of Joan Crawford saying, close up of Betty saying, "Oh, that sure is a horror film," But Betty on purpose went really over the top, and she wore a dress. The dress she's wearing was a dress that Joan Crawford had worn in a 1930 whatever movie, and she did that in order to mind fuck Joan when they were because look how crazy I look in this dress, and this is a dress that you thought was So there's all kinds of cool insider I'm gonna get at her kind of things.
Well, it's hard to imagine that people thought that way back then. I guess they did.
And the daughter next door, remember the neighbors next door she was throwing the notes to? With the window?
Vaguely. Yeah.
They were the nosy neighbors. Well, the daughter of the next door neighbor, it was actually Bette Davis's daughter, and she was really awful. Either Luella Parsons or Hedda Hopper blackmailed Bette Davis and said that they were going to write about how awful she is, how awful her daughter is, unless you give us some dirt on Joan Crawford. So she said that Joan Crawford had bad underarm, she smelled really bad, and that started this whole, because they were finally getting along, and the directors encouraged them to fight to get publicity for the show, and it's kind of sad because you see them wanting to get along and wanting to be friends, and yet people are pitting them at each other for their entertainment.
We've seen that before.
Yeah, we sure have. We've orchestrated it before. But it's a really good show. You should watch it. I'm surprised you aren't. What are you watching?
I'm watching Archer right now, catching up with all, because it's so many seasons of it. The new season just started. So it's really so funny.
Everybody tells me to watch it.
Rip-roaring laughter.
It's kind of reminds me of the Gem thing, right?
Kind of.
But
Gem is...
Jizz I'm talking about.
Wait a minute, you're talking about Gem, the little girl's cartoon?
Jizz.
Jizz?
Yeah.
What's Jizz?
Jizz is Gem, but retooled.
I haven't seen Jizz.
You haven't seen Jizz?
Not
Oh
that
my
kind
God.
of Jizz.
Oh my God, it's hysterical. Sushi and Artie made me watch Jizz.
Oh, okay.
It's really funny. It's the Gem cartoons, but the voice, they changed the voices to make it like really raunchy and really like they make the episode will be all about like the
Oh wait a minute! I think I did see one episode of that.
I'm sure you have. You would not forget it. It's really funny.
Yes, like because they just like it's just some people making remakes of the. I mean, it's the original cartoon,
yeah.
but they're just changing
Talking
the words,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I have seen it.
It's
it is
like
funny.
it's like the Woody Allen Tiger Lily.
But Archer's fun. I think is funnier
But
than that.
it's kind of the same thing.
It's not the same thing because it's like voice actors like actually acting. It's not somebody taking something that was
No,
made.
I don't mean that. I mean the animation reminds me of the same. It's the same kind of animation.
Right, it's the same kind of animation, kind of cheap.
Yeah.
And where the characters don't really move
Right.
that well. It's very choppy, but it's very, very funny.
So what's the storyline? What's it about?
It's about a secret agent who gets into all these situations with his family.
But is it ridiculous funny or
yeah,
is it like?
it's ridiculous funny. It's extremely funny.
But is it like highbrow?
It is highbrow.
I should watch it.
It's very highbrow.
There isn't enough highbrow on TV, if you ask me.
We'll be right back after this lowbrow.
And now a word from our sponsor. Welcome back to the Peew.
Welcome back.
My brows are so low after that. Now lift my brows by talking about something else. Highbrow.
Well, I noticed that Michael was watching a lot of this horrible, to me, kind of like
Horrible?
bad 60s.
See,
TV
I
show.
remember.
You were watching that
I
girl?
remember when you used to love that. Yes, it was that girl with Ethel Merman on it. Ethel Merman was guest starring on that. Girl.
Old episodes of Password, the
Yes,
game show.
Because that Jane went.
Oh, you're blaming it on the
she
the
does watch it.
Alzheimer's.
But I wanted to watch it too. It was Lucy and her husband after Desi. What was his name?
Gary Morton.
Yeah, Lucy and Gary Morton and Desi Arnaz Jr. and Lucy Arnaz all playing Password. I thought it was pretty funny. And Joan Crawford was on right after they released Baby Jane, and she was on there to promote Baby Jane, and you could tell she did not want to be there, but she had to be. So
Was she holding a can of Pepsi?
She did, yes.
Or was the Password Pepsi?
No, but they were drinking Pepsi.
Oh, I'm so thirsty. Before I give you the clue to the next word, let me just take a cool, refreshing drink.
Yeah, but the thing is, this was at a time. Now, did they have facelifts back then?
Facelifts?
Yeah,
Possibly.
because this is why I think that it was such an exception. Like Elizabeth Taylor and some of these other women who were considered the most beautiful women in the world. Because it was, I think, more of a big deal to be beautiful back then because they didn't have the kinds of plastic surgery.
Well, it wasn't as easy to be beautiful back then as it is now.
Right. Now everybody's beautiful. But back then, well, you know what I mean.
You live with me in the Bronx. It was
know.
definitely
I know.
not everybody
Those
was
people
beautiful.
don't count. I'm talking about people who count on TV. But back then to be beautiful was really something. I mean, like you look at Sophia Loren and Elizabeth Taylor and these women, it was really
exceptional.
It was, and that's what made them so exceptional. And now that I was watching Queen of Outer Space today with Zsa Zsa Gabor, and she was really beautiful. And to think she's Paris Hilton's grandmother, and she was before she died, and I heard before she died, she just had nothing but awful things to say about Paris Hilton. But she was really beautiful. All the Gabor sisters were beautiful. Well, no, only the two, Ava and Jasha. The third one was not.
See you next time.
Bye.